One of the greatest challenges in modern life is connected with not understanding the need that we as human beings have to deliberately encounter and understand ourselves. It requires primarily a vision that we human beings are not coming here as complete, finished beings, but we come with a possibility, an open possibility. In comparison to other living beings, say a tiger, a bird, a plant, they all have their own unconscious but complete perspective of what to manifest. They don't have the kind of openness and the growth possibility like it is in human life. Therefore, the human being comes through many challenges which, without the right understanding, looks like a problem, as if it is something against oneself, as if it is something which should not be there. And one of these challenges is what is interpreted as depression. Depression is not a sickness, and it is not something which is happening which should not happen. It is a signal. As long as we consider it very carefully and wakefully, it will become visible to us that it is a signal which shows us, which reminds us as human beings, now the time has come to look more deeply. Now the time has come to understand oneself and life more carefully. And that is a turning point in the life of a human being when one starts consciously seeking who we are, what is reality. Without a conscious seeking, we are often like driftwood. Something pulls us here, something pulls us there. There are factors working in us which are part of a unconscious, conditioned program which we are carrying without examining it carefully. And there are various factors which have to be very carefully and courageously to be looked in. One of them is to see that primarily it is not a sickness, but an invitation, a reminder, a call from within, from life, from the mystery of this existence, that we carefully, consciously, wakefully begin to question the nature of our reality. When this is not understood rightly, then, like in many cases, they imagine it is some kind of sickness, something which should not happen, and it is gone about as if a doctor has to now fix it. But what is very important is to realize that there is a basic responsibility what we have towards ourselves, which has to be recognized by us. And this is the responsibility which also is the basis for our development and freedom. For example, if we believe that someone else is responsible for our unhappiness, someone else is responsible for the entanglements which we have, and remain on this kind of hypnotic belief about it, then we are playing the role of a victim. Then we have no chance to be different. Then we react from this belief that we cannot do anything. What can we do? Others are doing, life is doing this, the society is doing, the parents have done this to me. So one succumbs to this kind of hypnotic beliefs and just only reacts on that level. But when one sees that what comes from outside is one aspect, and the other aspect, which is very basic, very decisive, is what we do with this, what we get from outside. When somebody is friendly to us, somebody is unfriendly to us, some situation is comfortable, some situation is problematic, what is the way we are responding to it? And this is a very basic and important factor to bring into consideration. When we see that what comes from outside, that's not in our hand, but what way we answer to it, there we have a chance. And that is also very unique of the human being, that we can observe through this capacity of consciousness which is dormant in us, which is there as a potential in us, bringing it into practice, bringing it into living, applying it, we are able to see what is taking place in ourselves. And seeing it also gives us a chance to realize that we don't need to be limited by this one particular kind of reaction. Because some people are used to getting upset and get hurt and close up, or some people are getting hurt and upset and going to fighting and aggression. Some people get very extraordinarily caught up in it. Some people are dealing with it in different ways that it is not becoming so extreme, but it is continuing to work in oneself, that one is trapped in these kind of patterns till we begin to question them, till we begin to confront them, until we start seeing that I have a chance, I have a possibility, and not only that, I have the freedom to see what is taking place within me, and thereby, without getting lost in my reaction, to reconsider the whole situation, to answer in a different way, in a new way, in a intelligent, creative way. Because the moment through the consciousness we have some distance, we are also creating the room, the space for the deeper intelligence in us to come into the whole situation. Otherwise, through the automatic process, the possibility that the deeper sensibility, the creative potential to come into the moment is blocked. When we just can notice it and see, and give ourselves some space to consider and get familiar with this possibility through our own encountering it and experiencing it, then by and by one comes to see that this is a very important key for us in our life. And the second aspect, which is very relevant in connection to this aspect of depression, is to see that we are depressed because, according to certain concepts, certain values which we have in each society, we are judging, labeling, categorizing ourselves and the others. And according to these kind of concepts and values in the given society, if we are not able to be successful, if we are not able to achieve what we want, if we are not able to prove what has to be proved, because there is a concept that only when you achieve this, when you prove this, when you can have this, you are somebody. Otherwise, one is a failure, one is not okay, one is not worthy. But this is a very relative, non-essential aspect of our life. And this you have to consider very carefully when I say what is meant by non-essential. Because each society have different kind of values, and in each context there are different concepts and beliefs, and they vary. It will be more easy when we take some concrete examples to understand it. For example, when people are playing football, when someone can hit the ball and put it in the goal post, then this person is successful, very valuable. And somebody else can play something else, somebody else can be achieving this or that. So, in the given context, they are successful or not successful, depending on what values we have been bringing there, what intensity is there, or kind of getting affected through that is also varying. But what is important for us is to recognize that our being human, our being worthy, our being valuable is not dependent on all these achievements and values which are given in the society. Life has given us the chance to be here. We have been supported to be able to have this body, to develop into some personality, to find a basis in this game of the world. And whatever be our kind of body nature, whatever be our kind of personality, when we are ready to inquire, when we are ready to confront, when we are ready to bring light into the whole process, we have a chance to be fulfilled and to be free. And this is something very basic, very intrinsic for all human beings. When there is a little readiness to look and consider what life really is. There's a very beautiful example. It's one of the most significant mystical writings in the East. They are called Upanishads. And one of the Upanishads has been authored by one person who was a total cripple in the body. The Upanishads itself is called through his body state. So they call the Upanishad Ashtavakra Gita. That it is a song of Ashtavakra, and Ashtavakra literally means one whose all the 8 parts are somehow disformed. But his clarity, his freedom, his joy is so deep, so significant for everyone to come to feel, because it is an awakening to who we are, to what we are, which is behind it. So the game of the world is, as it's also called in the East, a Leela, a cosmic play. It is not a philosophical statement to be just argued about. It is much more an indication that when we want to understand ourselves and life, we have to approach it with a certain lucidity, a flexibility, a playfulness. And this is a very significant aspect to bring into consideration that we are having the blessedness to be in this body, to be in this world, to be able to come in touch with this possibility to inquire. And when you are being with it now, it is because life has supported you in innumerable ways to come to this moment where you can come in touch with these basic questions and confront these factors. So if you are not holding to the hypnotic belief that depression is some sickness and somebody else has to take care of it and I am not worthy, and hang to that and settle with that, then you see that this is an invitation, this is a chance, this is an opportunity to come into the awakening of who we are, to the flowering of the potential of love and joy and freedom, and to realize that this life is not a punishment, it is a blessing. To realize that you are not here as an unwanted orphan, but you are wanted, welcomed, supported, and it is your home. So this is what is very important, that through your conscious inquiry, wakeful inquiry with all what you are and who you are, you come to realize it. When it is your realization, then nobody can shatter you, then you cannot find any trap of depression in you. When I speak about it to you, it is a reminder, it is asking you to look at it, to consider it, to inquire into it. But there are many factors which makes the inquiry very challenging too, because we tend to settle with our habits. We hold to the beliefs, to the concepts, to the roles, because we are used to it, we are living it for so long. And to question that and to recognize that these are conditioned aspects, these are relative factors, and to attain to a clarity which is not so in the grip, looks a bit risky. It is a little frightening to come in touch with these basic facts that we are part of something deeper, something greater. So you have to be very carefully, courageously, consciously encountering this process and come to realize what basically your nature is, and get familiar with your reality in an experiential way. That is what will make the real difference. When it becomes your own experiential understanding, then nobody need to tell you what to do about your depression, because as you come to awaken to your truth, awaken to your divinity, awaken to the mystery that you are, then all that misunderstandings and miseries which are around it simply evaporate. Just like when the sunlight is arising, all the darkness disappears without any struggle. So it is a question of allowing the consciousness, the wakefulness, through your deliberate inquiry, to illumine all these aspects which one carries within oneself, so that what is otherwise coming as a barrier can clear up spontaneously through the awareness process. And a natural flow, a natural attunement can again take place.